All right. So we've just went ahead and started with 8.5, 11. We have 2 artboards, landscape orientation, and this is what our layout should look like. Now, we're going to go ahead and bring in one of our sketches, or both if you have them, and put them here on our pages that we just created, one on each page. And so I'm going to go to Mural and borrow one of yours. So I have one too. Where's my mural? I think I accidentally. I thought I had mural open. Let me get mural open.
Sorry, just a quick question.
Yes.
So after choosing new one letter, and then how we get the 2? Because when I press letter, it's showing me only one. How we get 2 pages on it?
Artboard. You want to say 2 artboards.
2 artboards, yeah. How
Oh, how to do that? Okay,
yeah.
sure. Got it. So let's go File, New. I'm going to say Letter. And so in this setup, I have 11 by 8.5. The orientation is landscape, and artboards is the next question. And you can put as many as you want here. I'm just going to do 2.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. You're welcome. Matthew, do you mind if I borrow your sketch to use as an example?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so when I'm in Illustrator, how I add an image is I'm going to go to File, Place, and I just downloaded Matthew's. Here it is. I'm going to say Place. And I'm going to grab one that looks like you're maybe not doing. I think I'm going to do this one. And because I have so many different images, because his is all one, and you're like, that might be distracting, we can clip it out so we just see the one. So the way we do that is I'm going to grab the rectangle tool, and you don't have to do this if you don't have like all on one. Like Matthew has his all on one, so I'm going to just simplify it by drawing a rectangle over the part that I want to keep. And then I'm going to use my selection tool, which is the black arrow, and select the image and the little rectangle I just drew and go Object, Clipping Mask, Make. And this way I can just look at the one flower that I want to focus on. And we're going to, 2 key things for navigating Illustrator. The black arrow is your selection tool. It's how you can grab something and move it around. Like I can move this image around. The white arrow is your direct selection tool. So if I wanted to adjust this mask, for example, I could open it up using the direct selection tool. So they work differently. The black one is your one you're going to use to move objects. Your white one is to change objects. So that's an important thing to remember with your 2 selection tools, which are the first 2 tools. I forgot to say another important thing, but I'm going to bring it up now. We're in Illustrator. The actual first thing we want to do before we even get our picture in there, or before we start working anyway, is we want to choose our workspace. So you want to go under Window and Workspaces. And so we're going to go ahead and put it into Well, we can do a couple things. We can do tracing or painting. I think we're going to do tracing. So I have it on tracing. And so that I can see what I'm looking at. I can see all of these options. I have right away this opacity. So I can actually choose to make this opacity lesser than if I want to as I'm working. I can change the opacity of my image. That's right here in the top menu bar. We can work with some of these alignment tools. We'll kind of get into all of these tools in just a minute though. So right now we're just bringing in our artwork. And so, for example, I'm going to go ahead and copy mine. I'm going to object, clipping mask, release. I'm going to grab one of the other images. Say it's that one I'm doing. And I'm going to go ahead and object, clipping mask, make. So now I have my two different images side by side, one on each artboard. And you want to make them nice and big so you can kind of really see them. There's no reason to make them tiny.
Can you show how you put the pictures on there first again?
Sure, not a problem. So you're going to go to File, Place. And then you're going to look for on your computer where you've saved the file. So mine is Matthews, so it went to my downloads folder so that whenever I download something off of my mural board, it'll go into my downloads folder. So that's what I did. Okay. And then
How
I
do
hit
you add
place.
two again? Like the two like white pages or
Your artboards.
yeah. How do you do that again?
You do that right when you started. So you go to File, New. Do you already have a file open or not?
Yeah, I just have to add another one.
You need to add another one. So go to Window, Artboards,
Okay.
and then this pop-up comes in. And down here, this little plus sign next to the trash can will give you another artboard.
Oh, thank you.
Sure. All right, good questions. Any other questions? Okay, so let's go through my goal is to kind of go through some of the main tools and some of the way we want to set this up. So right now I've put these two images here, but notice if I touch them, they're going to move. So I want to go ahead and not have these sketches move around. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put them on their own layer. So the one thing, the way Illustrator works is you can work in layers. So you can have layers that you lock and don't touch, and you can put layers on top. So you can do, in other words, different versions of the same drawing all on the same page with just different layers. So if we go to Windows, we can go to Layers. And the layers are right here at this little symbol here on this little side menu bar. And I'm going to go ahead down to the bottom where there's a little plus symbol next to the trash can, and I'm going to say layer 2. So on layer 1, that's where my images are. I can turn this little eyeball on and off, and they turn on and off. So it's really handy to have that, especially when we're tracing. So we're going to name the layer. It's so helpful if you name your layers, but this is going to be our sketch layer. I'm going to name it sketch. And then I'm going to go to here next to the eyeball and click on it, and it locks it. So now I cannot move these layers. Nothing I do will let these move around. They're locked.
Wait, I'm sorry. How do you get the pictures to the like both of your screens or your pages?
You go to File, Place. Let me get here.
Yeah, but
File.
like to choose the pictures because I have them all together like how she did.
Yeah, Oh, you mean to choose just to see one?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me unlock these. I did a clipping mask. So here's the whole page.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved my page around so that it fit into my page where I wanted it. So I have it where I want it. I drew a rectangle. Okay. I choose a rectangle the size of my paper. And so then I selected both the rectangle I drew and the big screen grab. And I go up to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. Oh, if it says it can't make it because I didn't have them both selected, you have to have both things selected, an Object, Clipping Mask, Make, and then it makes it and it clips it down. So you only see the one part of it. That work?
Mm, I can't get it.
Why don't you share your screen and I'm gonna pause our screen sharing and okay. So now we've created layers. So I want to know that we all have our layers. We have a sketch layer. We're going to lock it down so that we can't move our sketches. So they stay still. They stay put. They don't move. And then the layer that we've added, I'm going to call my art layer. Okay. So we can always turn our sketches on and off when they're on their own layer, which is super handy. Okay, so you should have two layers, an art layer and a sketch layer. The sketch layer is locked, and we're going to go ahead and select the art layer, and that's where we're going to start working. Okay. So here we have our flower, our sketch. For me, I'm using Matthew's flower. So we have these tools on the left. There's a lot of different tools. The one I want you to start with is the pencil. So I'm going to show you how to find the pencil. It's under the paintbrush. So it's hidden under the paintbrush, not to confuse you, but we do have tools that sit on top of other tools. It's like, so we'll learn about that. Anytime you see a little arrow in the lower right-hand corner, it lets you know that there are more tools under the tool you're looking at. So we want to choose the pencil, and we're going to double click on the pencil so this little pencil tool option window comes up. You want this pencil option tool window to come up. I'm going to show you again how I did that. I double clicked and the pencil tool options came up. I want you to move the fidelity to smooth all the way over here to smooth. You're definitely fine to leave all of the options how they are. We don't want to fill. We want to keep it selected. We want to close paths within 15 pixels, and we want to edit selected paths. So all of that should say just the default, what it is. And then we're going to say okay. Next, we need to give it, it's a pencil, but right now it has no ink. And the reason I know that is these two little squares down here near the bottom of the toolbar are the fill and stroke. And when they have red lines going through them like this, that means there's no fill and there's no stroke. So what we want to do is double click on that square with the hole in the middle. That means that's the stroke. And I'm going to pick a color. Because our drawing is black and white, we're ultimately going to be doing this in black and white. But so I can see my my line that I'm drawing, I want it to be a different color than my sketch. I can also take my sketch and make it lighter so I don't see it as much. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unlock it for a minute, grab my sketch and go up here to opacity and make it a little lighter. Hold on, let me select it. I'm going to select it. Oops. And I'm going to make I'm going to use my white arrow, which is the direct select tool. And I'm going to make it a little lighter just because this is a nice dark drawing, which I appreciate, but it's making it a little dark for me to see my new lines. So I'm going to make it a 50% opacity. And I did that by selecting the image using my direct select tool and using the opacity at the top toolbar. And then once I have it where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and lock it again so that I don't move it. Okay, so then I'm going to go back to my pencil. And I lost my ink, so I'm going to add my ink back in. Actually, I'm not going to use red. That's going to hurt my eyes. Let me change the color to something a little softer. Let's go with purple. Okay. Now, notice how if I stay on this sketch layer that's locked, my pencil has a little do not symbol next to it. Do you see that? That means it's telling me you can't sketch here because that's a locked layer. That's what that means. So I got to just move over here to my art layer. And now you can see that symbol's gone and I can start drawing. See. So the pencil, you have lots of choices. You have your color, you have a stroke weight. You can do 1 point, 2 point, and you can try the different points. So that's a 3 point. This is what a 2 point would look like. And this is what a 1 point looks like. So you can kind of see the different weights. Let me move those down here so you can see them off the sketch. I think I want to go with this 3 point. It's a little thicker, and for this sketch, it's going to give me a little bit more visibility because I want you guys to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to choose a 3 point stroke. It's a uniform line. You can also choose, different types of shapes for your point. I'm going to just keep mine round. And I'm in the pencil tool. So I'm back in the pencil tool, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just start drawing my petals. Not doing anything more than just tracing my petals using the pencil tool. Notice, I'm going to zoom in. These aren't looking great. They're just kind of very rough, these first ones. I also want you to see some things that are happening. Notice how this line is very rounded. And then I have another one that's very pointed. And then I have this one that's kind of a little bit of both. So there's a lot of like little inconsistencies there. So was just roughly drawing these, and notice how each line is separate. You can move it around once you're in the selection tool. I'm going to select this guy that has the this kind of squared off edge. I'm going to zoom in tight so you can see. I can go in here when I select it and adjust this corner . Hold on. It was just showing me oh, there it is. Okay. When you select the corner, notice there's this little like dot that comes out below it. This is the arc tool. It allows me to select that and round this tip. So when you have a corner, like I've done here, you can click on this and round it. So now I have a rounded tip. I can also select any of these points and move it around. I can select just one and move it. I can select the other and move it. Now, another thing you might notice, and so actually before I even do that, let's have you all try that. So if you take your pencil tool, and you don't even have to be drawing on your design yet, I want you to just draw, just draw a corner. Like, so click, a minute, click, I think you have to do it this way. Oh, I'm in the line to segment tool. I'm like, what is it doing? Okay. Okay, so I just drew a corner. I then went into my white direct selection tool, or I can use the letter A. And then I select here and it shows me how it's going to turn that into a curve. Okay. Y'all see how that works? And then we only have time for one more tip I'm going to share with you, and that is, well, you know what, let's leave it at that for today because I'm realizing we are out of time. I can't believe how fast class went today. So I'm going to pause our design here and we're going to keep going through the tools next class. All right, so we'll continue to be continued. Okay, everybody?